Hello, welcome to another Java tutorial video for Java Basics. And this is going to be about classes and objects. So the first thing I'm going to do is right click this, go to new, class, and this will pop up. And right now we just want to keep everything the same right here. But for the name, this is where we name the class. So let's just name it something, and we'll just click finish. And it just pops up. As you can see in like the package, it's in the same as main. I'm gonna change between the two. So the way we would make a class is first you're gonna go here, and inside a public class you can give it variables and attributes. So an attribute would be something like int. What can we name this, guys? Int number. Yeah. And we don't necessarily have to do anything with this. We can just leave it kind of like undeclared like this. And what you want to do is create your constructor. So there's a default constructor and you can override the constructor. So, or overload the constructor. So the way you want to do this is, well, we're just going to overload. So we're going to overload the constructor. So just go public. And when you make a constructor, you have to have it you have to give it the same name as the class. So the class name is something, and we're just going to give it something. So, and similar to how you would make a method, you have to give it like a parameter. So right now it's going to take in an integer. So this is how we're going to initialize the object. So we'll just use A, just the letter A, and then we will initialize int number up here with A, and we can do that just by assigning it. So number equals A. So that's simple enough. Okay, so now let's go back to main and let's actually create the object. So the first thing I'm going to do is go something. So similar to like strings and ints, now we can use something kind of as like a data type, but it's really just like a class. So we have something right here, and then now we have to give it a name. So let's just say what's a good name, guys? Not something. I can't say that because technically it is something. Okay, let's just call it thing. Equals new something. And now we want to assign it a value. So right now it takes an integer for this constructor. So we have to put it in within these parentheses because we're calling the constructor by doing new something. This is kind of like how we initialize it. As you can see, it's something right here, and then public something. So that's just kind of how it is. And will be a good number. Let's just do 5. Okay, so now we have everything. And right now we can't really do anything with it because we only initialize it. So let's have a way to kind of retrieve this this value right here. So let's just do a get method. So public int, it's going to return an int, get number, and return number. Okay, so this is just a method within the class. So the thing about classes is that it's kind of like a blueprint to an object. So you can have methods, and you can also have kind of like these attributes in it to give it kind of like an identity. And yeah, so now that we have our get number, we have a way to get the number from within the class that we made. So now that now we have a way to actually retrieve this 5 back here that we initialized it with. So let's just do system.out.print line number in thing, and thing.get number. Alright, now let's run the program just to show you guys how it works. Okay, number in thing 5. Okay, so this is how it works. So we initialize, so we create our object and we use 5 to initialize it. So we go to the constructor, it creates the object and assigns 5 to number. And then after that, we call the get number method within the class, which is right here, and it returns number, which is 5. So that's kind of how we got this output right here. And let's say you don't want the number to be 5, you want to change it, you want to be able to change it. So let's add another function, public void. This time we're just going to be this is going to be a setter method. So set number. We don't have to return anything, so it can just be void, but we do have to take it in a parameter. So int, let's call it a. Don't be confused about how this int a and this int a is kind of the same. They're both like within a different scope. So this a right here is only within the scope of this method right here, and this int a is only within the scope of this method right here. That way, it's kind of like, you know, they're isolated from each other. Okay, so let's do let's set number equal to a. Okay, so this is where we would call the method. So let's do thing dot set number, and let's set it to, let's just set it to 10. And then after that, we're going to print it out again. I'm just going to copy and paste. Your new number in thing is, so what I'm expecting is that number in thing is 5, and then we're going to change it to 10. So it's going to print your new number in thing is 10, because we call the method again, but this time with the new number in it when we call get number again. Let's go. Oh, so there it is. Yeah, so that's just how it works. After a while, like, this concept is kind of confusing at first, but once you kind of get used to it, it'll make a lot of sense. And I hope I explained it well enough. This is kind of like one of those things where you kind of got to practice more and more and get more familiar with it. And I'll see you guys in the next video.